Hello, my name is Tina Gauthier, and I am reviewing case brief 2, Tinker vs. Des Moines. I've included the citation for the Supreme Court case here. Supreme Court case, Tinker vs. of 1969. I've just stated that. So in 1965, Mary Beth Tinker, her brother John Tinker, and Christopher Eckerd were disciplined for wearing black armbands to school in protest against the Vietnam War in Des Moines, Iowa. School administrators adopted a policy banning armbands, and the students were suspended for refusing to remove them. The legal question here is, can students in public school be prohibited to wear armbands as a form of symbolic protest? Are disciplinary actions against students wearing black armbands a form of symbolic speech, a violation of their First Amendment rights? The relief sought is judgment and injunction to prevent the school districts from disciplining them from wearing the armbands, asserting that the discipline was a violation of their First Amendment right. Okay, and so a little background for the Supreme Court case is the court ruled that public school students K through 12 retain their First Amendment rights to free speech while on the school grounds. Students do not, quote, shed their constitutional rights of freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. It was determined that the armbands were represented as pure speech, and the school's actions were not justified as it was a form of symbolic expression. It did not cause substantial disruption to the school operation. The rationale, the court reasoned that conduct did not materially or substantially interfere with school operations. Therefore, the silent expression of opinion wearing the armbands did not cause this disruption nor infringe the rights of others, making the actions against the students unwarranted. While schools have the authority to regulate conduct that disrupts the learning environment, this authority must be balanced against students' constitutional rights. Justice Black argued that the First Amendment does not grant students the right to express any opinion at any time. It can cause a disturbance and take away students' minds from class. And Justice Harlan believed that school officials should have the authority to maintain order. Granting schools unchecked authority to suppress speech could undermine fundamental freedoms. Therefore, the substantial disruption test was established. Student speech can only be restricted if they are materially and substantially interfering with school operations or infringe the right of others. The significance of this case, it set the precedent for the students to be able to maintain their freedom of speech. The ruling affirmed that students' constitutional rights to express their views in a non-disruptive manner while they're on school grounds. The substantial disruption test is used today to evaluate cases involving student expression, requiring school leaders to demonstrate actual or foreseeable disruption before censoring speech. Schools cannot impose blanket bans on speech without evidence, ensuring policies respect their constitutional rights of students. This can be applied to a wide range of speech, including media posts, peaceful protests, clothing, as long as their actions are non-disruptive. So it's definitely something that continues to come up in cases today. Public school students retain their First Amendment rights when entering the school grounds, as schools are public institutions bound by these similar protections. So the balancing the students' rights and school authority First Amendment protections. So these are the four key takeaways that I have. Students do not lose their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or they enter the school grounds. So whether it's in your classroom and so on, we need to maintain a productive learning environment, but we do not suppress their speech or hinder it in any way. So another factor is the act of wearing armbands in protest constitutes symbolic speech. So it's a form of expression, and it's protected by the First Amendment. Another factor that came out of this case is the substantial disruption standards test that can be used to regulate or suppress speech. So it must be materially or substantially interfere with school operations or infringe on the rights of others. If it does not meet these standards, then it's not a violation. So keep these things in mind when you talk about students, whether it be dress code or the things that they're sharing in class or outside. And then the fourth takeaway is free speech in school fosters advocacy, self-expression. This open expression prepares students for their roles as citizens and participants in democratic society. So when they have ideas, allow them to express it. Just show them a way to express it in a conducive manner where it's not infringing on the rights of others. Thank you so much, and that concludes this summary.